Hello everybody, this is Rick Utzer here again with AirgunWeb and AirgunWeb TV, and we're going to continue on today with our series on the Brocock Bantam Sniper HR. Now, you guys saw the videos I've done already. We did some basic accuracy testing. Today was all about performance and what kind of shot count we're getting, what kind of velocities we're getting, what kind of curve we're getting, if any, because this is the HUMA regulated model. If you're serious about air guns and you really want to know what your air gun's doing, buy a chronograph, because that's going to be sort of your first level of testing. Is it consistent? Because if you're not putting out consistent velocity, it doesn't matter about anything else. You're not going to have any accuracy. So that is super, super important. If you don't have a chronograph and you're super interested in wringing out the most you can out of any of your air guns, go get a chronograph. Now, I use the Caldwell Precision Shooting Chrony. The reason I like that one is simply because it plugs into my iPad and I can capture all my data. I find that very useful. So the first thing I did today was just shoot shot count. Filled the rifle to 250 bar and just sat and put pellets over it. And I had some pretty interesting results. Let me pull up that group here. So this one I started with 250 bar, like I said, and I just started shooting. What I found was the first couple shots were a little bit low. Like the first couple shots were like 850 and then immediately it kicked to 870. And it just sort of hovered in that 870 to 880 range for quite a while, for like 40 shots we hit, and it kind of had a little bit of a jump, which was odd. It kind of jumped and actually went over 900 feet per second. We got a few shots over 900, and then it calmed back down and started to shoot in the 880s, 870s again, until we got down to shot 70. I did take it to 80 shots just to see how far it would dip, and it dipped a lot. Once you fell off the reg, it was pretty much going to just drop like a rock, and it did. Now, as far as pure consistency goes, here's the thing, here's why you really want to have a chronograph. Every gun's going to be a little bit different. So I may tell you, hey guys, shoot at 230 bar to 278 bar, and that may be perfect for this gun, but it may not be perfect for your gun. And so if you have a chronograph, you can actually do this. It's super easy to do it. You know, you get a bunch of pellets, you get a nice day out here, and you just start shooting, and you're gonna find this block of really consistent shots. And it doesn't matter what kind of gun you have, whether it's regulated or unregulated, they all have this sweet spot that they really, really like. And if you know what that is, then you can fill your gun to maybe just a fraction over, clear a couple shots out, and you know you're gonna be right in the sweet spot of your rifle, and you're going to get the most accuracy. Now, the other thing I did with this is I wanted to see just what kind of variations we had over here. It's got a power wheel, right? So here's full power, and you have 6 sort of notches. So all the way up at the top is full power, all the way down at the bottom is low power. So I'm normally shooting this full out on high power. I wanted to know today, was there any variance? So I also did some shooting tests with that. Let me pull that up here, because that was also very interesting. What I did is I shot a couple shots, switched it, shot a couple shots, switched it. So I didn't just do one and then move on. I did a few shots to see sort of what the consistency was. Yeah, I mean, it looks like what I'm getting is right at the top, right at the very tippy top there, you're in that 870 range. So 875, 878, right in there is where it sort of kind of lives at the high setting, and then it gradually starts to drop down a little bit. As we get lower, like all the way down at the bottom end of it, like the first power setting, it's like 730s, like the 730, 735 in that range. So you go from like 880 to 730, and it's kind of interesting between full power and like one notch down, not a lot of variance. In fact, I actually saw the second notch actually shoot a little faster on occasion, so I'm not sure what's going on between those two settings, but as you definitely dip down, you can definitely see the difference. Now, what I found with some other guns is depending on your pellet conditions, running full out may not be the most accurate way to shoot. So I wanted to do some testing today. Again, we're using 25.4 grain pellets. I put the rangefinder from this position to that target is 55 yards. So a little bit closer to the front of the building here is 50 yards, but right here where we shot today is 55 yards. And this is what we got. You guys, I'm gonna kind of walk through these. I'll put them at the bottom of the screen here. You guys can sort of see me going through this process here. Okay, so first group here, this was a baseline group. This was shot full power with the magazine. And I thought, okay, let's see what we can get. 55 yards is exactly where I am from here to there. It's 55 yards. And that's what we got. 10 shots, not great. Had a couple flyers. You know, if you take those out, it's a pretty decent group. I don't know if that's me or a bad pellet or what it is, but obviously it's not as tight as I would like it to be at 55 yards for a gun like this. But again, I was shooting with the magazine. Winds today are between 10 to 15 with some gusts. So the conditions aren't ideal, so we got to take that into consideration as well. So after this, I said, you know, people have been telling me that you might want to try using the single shot tray for accuracy, and I've heard that that is the case. And I know that's the case, so I figured, you know, let's go and pull the single shot tray and shoot some of these other groups to see what happens. And here we actually, you know, we dropped down a power setting to see what would happen, and I was pretty excited to see it start. I thought it was going to group, but then it spread out a little bit. Again, not bad. It's probably maybe just over an inch at 50 yards. But I was hoping for better. I dropped the power down again, and I got this. And other than a couple of them going a little left to right, and I don't know if that was wind, that shows some real promise there. That was pretty good as far as the consistency goes. Then I dropped the power down, and you can see that was too low. At that point, I just wasn't maintaining stability at 50 yards with that, and that's probably going to be in that probably 800, maybe high sevens, maybe 780, 790 in that range in here. It just doesn't have the stability to carry at 50 yards, at least not in this wind. And then I went ahead and cranked the power all the way back up because I'm not quite sure if it's going to be full power or like one notch down is going to be best. So I haven't figured that out yet, but I cranked it up to full power and I shot this group. And what was interesting about this is because everything seemed to have been pushing to the right. They had the gusts were coming at about like a 45. Wind was coming at like a 45. Everything started pushing a little bit to the right. So I said, you know, let me aim just a little bit left. And I did. I aimed exactly at that little line right there. And that's where the first pellet landed. So obviously wind shifted or something happened. And I just maintained that hold because I wanted to see the group, not my adjustment, how good it was. But as you can see, that group, now that is more what we want to be seeing out of our gun at 50 yards. Something like that is starting to show us some good data on how to get the most accuracy out of this. So for now, what I'm finding, single shot tray, full power seems to still be, well, full power or one notch down. Haven't quite decided yet. If this might have just been a fluke, it might have been something, I'm gonna go shoot this a little bit. This was on the third power setting down. So who knows? That showed a little promise there. I'll have to do some more testing on that because that may be optimal. Who knows in the like perfect conditions? But you know, this really is even bucking the wind. You can see that this did a great job. Now that I know that for accuracy, pure accuracy, we're going to run the single shot tray. We're going to play with the power settings between like all out, full tilt, and the one down. Maybe one down from that just for giggles. And then the other thing I want to do, and we'll do this on the next video, is we've got some different attachments for the front barrel. We've got, well, this is just the barrel end protector, but we've got the muzzle brake, we've got a moderator. So I want to know if any of those affect accuracy. That's going to be our next video. We're going to try that out a little bit. And we're also going to talk about this first focal plane scope. We're going to do that in the next video as well. And I've got some cool ways that we can actually look right down through the scope and see how I'm shooting down there. And that should be kind of fun too. So our next video is going to be about kind of really dialing in on the accuracy. We're sticking with the 50 yards for now. Once we have that dialed in, then we'll start taking it to 75 and 100 yards once we have all the parameters in place that we really know what we're getting. But for now, I think that right there shows some real promise. I think that gives us some solid data to work with moving forward. So that's it for today. That's the Brocock Bantam Sniper HR. I want to say thank you to the guys over at Daystate Brocock for hooking me up with this gear and letting me do this series of videos. It's like a lot of fun. I'm learning a ton of stuff about a whole set of products that are brand new to me. And for me, I don't know if that's so much work as much as just out here having a good time. Either way, I'm going to take it. Guys, my name is Rick Utzer here with AirgunWeb, AirgunWeb TV. Thanks for watching.